Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bowhunter Chronicles podcast, brought to you by Tactacam. This is the portion of the intro where I tell you about Tactacam and all the great stuff, except for we've got Ben Stern from Tactacam on the episode today, so I'm going to let him, he's one of the creators, the inventors, the minds, the brains behind Tactacam, tell you all about that. Wanted to do this podcast to talk about the new Reveal cell cams, like the hottest trail cam out right now. Can't find them, can't buy them. They work great. They sent us a couple. I've been using mine. John is actually not on this podcast. He headed up to the UP on a kind of an impromptu trip to actually get out and hunt. If you've been following along with the podcast, you know John was in Montana for 3 weeks, and his honey-do list is long, doing what he can to get out and hunt. So he got the okay, he got the green light to go hunting, and he took off and did just that. So without any further ado, we'll get into this podcast. Again, got to give a shout out to Spartan Forge. If you go to spartanforge.ai, Bill is feverishly working on getting that out. You can check out our podcast that we did with them a few weeks ago. But what that is artificial intelligence for the deer world. Now, what does that mean? That seems crazy. He explains it much better than we do on the podcast. You can go to our YouTube and check that out, or one of the previous podcast episodes. But basically, it's taking all the data that you'd find like in the Farmer's Almanac. So, historically on November the 9th, this is what you'd get for temperatures, etc. But on a much grander scale. So he's tapping into university studies on collared deer showing peak movement times, insurance company data showing car deer accidents, harvest photos that we put on social media, and the data that's embedded in those on the times that they were posted, taken, etc., for your geographic area to tell you what days are going to be the best days to be in the woods, based on the weather as well as historically those times, wind directions, etc. for your area. So you can check that out at spartanforge.ai and check them out on social media. They're doing a giveaway right now on Instagram. So go over and check that out at, again, spartanforge.ai. And another shout out to our Patreons. I missed that in the last intro and got some feedback, got some flack about that. So I just want to thank everybody that is one of our Patreons. Patrons directly support the show, all the costs associated with it. And we can't thank them enough. But what we do to try to thank them is we do quarterly giveaways. Probably going to be moving to a monthly giveaway starting in 2021. But this quarter, we're going to be giving away a pack. I haven't reached out to Mystery Ranch yet. I need to get a hold of them. I think we're going to give away a Mystery Ranch Metcalf. One of the things that I'm having an issue with because I use the Mystery Ranch Sawtooth is I want the lid. So they currently don't have any lids. The Metcalf has a lid, and because they don't have any lids, they don't have any Metcalfs for sale. So I've got to reach out to them and make sure that there's going to be one of those in stock. We're going to be giving away a set of Badlands rain gear. And so those are the things that we're giving away to our Patreons. One lucky Patreon is going to get one of those each. And then also a base map giveaway. So we'll give away a base map pro package with a swag pack. And so what that'll get you is all the access to everything that base map has to offer. Download as big a map as your phone will hold, and you can download all of their layers. They have their new Hunt Wind feature on there, so you can set a blind anywhere in there, click on it, set the wind direction, then you can look at the wind for the next 7 days, and it'll tell you what the wind's going to be, whether it's a good wind or a bad wind for that. So definitely check out Base Map if you haven't done that, and if you're going to download the app, you can go online and use code Chronicles, and that'll save you 20%, which makes an entire year for the entire country of Base Map $24. So at $30, it's a bargain. But if you're going to buy it, why not use our code and save 20%? So definitely check out Basemap. Thank you so much to the Patrons. If you are interested in supporting the show through Patreon, or you want to win one of the giveaways, you can check that out at patreon.com/Bowhunter Chronicles podcast, or go to bowhunterchroniclespodcast.com. Click on the Patreon link. Also, I've got my hunt from this year where I killed the 8-point up on our YouTube page. So go to our YouTube page, check that out, subscribe. Got a lot of big things coming for 2021 on YouTube. Going to be rolling out a new tech tip weekly video with John and some bow tuning. So stay tuned for that. Hit the subscribe button to be notified of all of our latest videos. But you guys are going to like this one. It was a lot of fun to record. Ben's a great guy. So without any further ado, enjoy the episode. Thanks for listening. All right, everybody, Adam back with another episode of the Bowhunter Chronicles podcast. John has actually hopped in the truck, and he just decided that he's going to go hunting now. So he's on his way to the UP, and he'll be there for a couple days, and just trying to get schedules switched around, and this one kind of scheduled haphazard back and forth, but we're going to make it work. You've heard us talk about them time and time again, and kind of our progression using the Tactacams. We're fortunate enough to have Ben Stern, one of the creators of the Tactacam and all the technology that surrounds that, on the line tonight. So how are you doing, Ben?
I'm doing pretty good, and you?
I have one more day of work, and then I'm off for 9 days in the middle of November, just coming into peak rut here in Michigan. So I'll be doing a lot better tomorrow.
Yeah, I would say that's some pretty good planning on your part.
And well, normally I have this week off. So the first week in November is what I do, and I just forgot to put it on the calendar. I went on an elk hunt this year that took up a large chunk of my vacation, so I didn't know what they were going to give me. And they said, well, are you going to take your time this year? And somebody had already taken this week off, and it's unseasonably warm here in Michigan. So next week we're going to get back into the cold again. So I think I scheduled it even better than I could have hoped.
Yeah, I think you're going to nail that one right on the head. I've been watching the cameras pretty much morning and night. It's kind of an addiction, when it's this time of year. But I've been seeing a ton of movement the last few days here in Wisconsin, and even with the warm weather. So I'm predicting that you're going to be sitting perfect.
Well, that's the hope. I killed a really decent buck here in Michigan. Public land. We're basically blue collar guys here hunting. What is John Eberhart calls it, combat hunting here in Michigan.
Right.
And so I killed just under 100-inch 8-point here on the 8th or 9th. So I got one tag left, and just looking forward to getting out there and seeing all the chaos ensue, I guess. So.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm fortunate. I hunt a family property that my grandpa, had, and it's a 80-acre piece. And, I'll be honest with you, it is my favorite place to be. It doesn't matter what time of year it is, but, it's just, I feel very fortunate to have a property that I could just go to and spend time with. And, it's family property, so I'm with, family, and pretty awesome. So
now, is that, did you say you're in Wisconsin?
Yeah, yep. So I'm in Wisconsin. It's Jackson County, but it's really close to Trempealeau County, and I know I'm just throwing counties around, but Buffalo County is right there as well, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners have heard of Buffalo County and Trempealeau County. So I'm right in the thick of it. With some pretty good hardwoods and rolling hills and farm country. So we tend to get some nice deer. Which obviously makes it even more fun, but it's it doesn't matter the size of the deer, in my opinion. It's like when you're out there and you're just experiencing it and experiencing them deer running around or chasing does, it does not matter how big it is. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. We've got so my family has 240 acres up in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, and it's 8 miles from Wisconsin over in Menominee County. Yeah, right
Okay.
in the Menominee County is right along the Menominee River that borders Wisconsin and Michigan there. But it's funny that you say that because today we're recording this. It is November the 5th, and 2 years ago, November 5th, I killed one of the smaller bucks that I've killed with a bow up on our property, and missed a really nice one earlier in the morning, but it's probably one of the most memorable hunts, most memorable deer. I was hunting up there with I have two brothers. One of my brothers was up there, doesn't hunt hardly at all, and he shot his second deer with a bow
Mm-hmm.
on that day. And then I had another brother that was hunting in South Dakota, and he killed a pretty substantial. I think it was like mid 130s, 140. Not big for a mule deer, but for us that's a big deer. And
Mm-hmm.
he killed that on the 5th. So all three of us killed deer on the same day. And in the 20 or 30 years that we've been hunting, and all the time that we've hunted together, even with rifles, we'd never killed deer on the same day. So it's one of those hunts. You say it doesn't really matter what the size of the deer is. That's one of the ones that's going to stick with me forever. So,
Right. Absolutely. You know, speaking of sticking with memories and things that last for a lifetime, and I feel like it's a perfect lead in for, like what my drive is, which obviously Tactacam, if you don't know what Tactacam is for your listeners, you know, we build a hunting camera that mounts onto your bow, it mounts onto your gun. We also have attachments to film through your scope. So if you're a crossbow hunter, you can film right through the crossbow scope. But back when before Tactacam was Tactacam, I started filming my hunts because I wanted to share these amazing memories and these moments with my grandfather, which was his property. But he was getting old and he couldn't get into the woods, but he loved to hunt. It was his favorite thing to do. So, that was really what started Tactacam. It was, getting out there and filming. And I was studying photography, went to school for it, and was messing around with electronics and building cameras and lenses. And it was weird because it was not something that I said I'm going to start a hunting company, but it was truly something that was started out of just the pure passion and love, of hunting and wanting to be able to share the experience with somebody. And I think if you use Tactacam, or if you've used Tactacam, you'll know, like, wow, yeah, it's so easy to use. It doesn't interfere with your hunting. It allows you to hunt. You push one button and it just records it, so that's kind of where Tactacam came from. And then obviously now today it's, as we continue to grow, we've got the 5.0 and the remote system, which allows you to really get into it. And you can basically run a full production now with the push of one button and still hunt, which
yeah,
is pretty cool.
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's it's interesting that that's how it's born out of, because that's kind of how we started with the Tactacams as well. This podcast, John's not on here, but we also do a big portion of this podcast is with my father-in-law. So for
Mm-hmm.
everybody on here, he's the character. He's Uncle Frank. If I were to put a picture of him, or you were to see him, I guarantee you, Ben, you would say, I remember that guy from last year at ATA, because
Right.
because that's the personality that he is. And we started this podcast, to connect with like-minded individuals, and give that, every man, we screw up more than we succeed, and I think that's one thing that's missed in the hunting era of YouTube and TV and everything, is that
Yep.
there's we embrace the failure and just say everybody that it's okay, and it's okay to shoot whatever you want to, and it's okay to mess up and all this stuff. But my father-in-law, he's the personality, so we're trying to get him to video, because when we video him, it's hilarious. I mean, he's just that kind of energy. He goes
Right.
down for the second year at ATA, and he must have spent 4 or 5 hours in your booth talking to everybody. And he's like, you gotta get some of those Tactacams. Now we can do it. And him and his hunting partner have just taken it, to the next level as filming. And they do an okay job. They filmed a couple successful hunts, and my father-in-law, he's got the Tactacams on his bow this year for archery hunting, and has missed 4 times now.
Oh boy.
But he remembers to click that button and turn it on. So it is that simple that anybody can do it. How did the company start? I mean, that's one of the things that we love to talk about here, because everybody has these ideas, or there's always that moment where you say, I thought of that 10 years ago, and
Yeah,
it's always
yeah.
great to
So
talk to people who are the doers or that can implement it.
right. Well, let's just be honest here. It's not like I had this great idea that nobody's ever had, right? It's like,
Hmm.
oh, let's build a camera to hunt with. Like there's been trail cameras, and obviously now, we started building the Reveal, the Tactacam Reveal, which is a cellular camera, this year, which has been on ridiculous, like just crazy hit, like awesome product. But like when I was doing it, it wasn't. I wasn't doing it to start a company, and I don't know if that helped, but it was something I was truly just doing for myself. And when people started to see what I was doing and how like what I was recording and how it looked and all of this other stuff, and I started to explain like how I was doing it, like mounting the camera inside the stabilizer, or being able to push one button and have it do everything automatically, and programming the camera to adjust for color, and which everyone's listening, like it's called autos, whatever. But the point is I was doing things that cameras weren't doing yet, and like adjusting the frame rates for low light, like literally doing all of these things automatically, for you, which I think is pretty cool at the time. But it's like you get enough people that were like, I'd buy one of those, and then someone says, how much money would you need to build, X amount to get it going? And I'm like, well, probably this, and next thing you know, you're going. And like Jeff Peel's my business partner, and I got Ben Thorud as a business partner, and there's a ton of other people involved. Like it's just there's so many people that it takes to do this. But when you have something that people are really passionate about, like all of us are, it makes it really easy, and you just continue to try to make it better, and everybody challenges each other, and we're never satisfied. Like even right now with the 5.0, for example, which is a camera that we've had out, we're always making improvements. We're always trying to make it better. And every time we have an opportunity to build cameras, we're making them better. And I think that's really what Tactacam's been about, and which is why I think we've done so well to this point, and I think we'll continue to do well because of our mindset, our passion for hunting and our passion for our product.
So I guess with that simplicity in mind, and making things better and moving forward, um, where is, I guess, is there a ceiling, or is there this is getting too complicated? Because I know, like with the cameras that we have, and with the older guys, want to read everything and then try and do, push the button X amount of times and this and that and the other thing. Like for me, I like the fact that I can just push the button and forget about it, right? So,
Yeah.
and with there's always concessions. So being able to do that, I might not have it in the right, I might have it in 1080 or 4K. I might not have it in that 2.7K that helps with low light and is a little bit better, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to end up with something at the end.
Yeah.
That's
And that's the goal, right? Like with the 5.0 camera, the goal is, can you turn it on? Can it work? Will it do everything to the best of the ability? Like, oh, I want to zoom. I look at the back cap, and I know I have to look at the back cap because you got to open it up at some point, right?
Hmm.
And it says zoom there, and it's like, oh, this color, and I'm like, how do I do that? And it's like you just can't help but like stumble across how to work the camera. Like you push the mode button, and it changes modes, and it changes to the blue color, and you're like, wow, that must be zoom, right? And then, or you push it again, and there's slow mo. So, it's trying to set the camera up to just be as simple, as easy as possible. But yet at the same time, if you do want to, I'm going to call it geek out a little bit or get more technical, you can connect it to the app. You can customize every single one of the modes. You can set it up exactly how you want it. I mean, you can go as deep as you want to, but yet the camera is set up from the very beginning to just work, you know?
Yeah, I think that's
So,
where those guys got mesmerized, right? So with
uh-huh.
watching some of the hunts, like another Michigan guy, Paul Kermy, um, he's got 5 cameras. He hits the button, it turns on from every angle, and then it's edited so it's just one seamless, like beautiful, you know, just something
Yeah.
where you're like, you did that with that,
Yeah. Isn't that
and
awesome? And he just killed another monster.
yeah,
Where was he? Like in Missouri or something,
I
I
think
saw?
I think Missouri's next. I think he was in
Or is that
Ohio.
where he's going?
Yeah, he's
Okay,
either going to
Ohio.
Missouri or Kentucky. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, Paul's a great guy. You know, I've been watching his videos for a while, but I mean, it's just, I love that, right? Like to build a product and to see someone just go out and hunt, push one button on there, it's hanging around his neck, and it's so real because you can't fake that. This is just a guy that loves hunting. Like I guarantee you, if you asked him, and you guys should Facebook message him just for fun. I'm curious to see what he says. But if you ask him like, what do you like better, filming or hunting? I guarantee you he's going to say hunting. Like filming is not the priority here. Like filming is just something you do because it's fun and it's like it allows you to get that experience, like just capture it and make something awesome that you can just share or have forever. Like it's more than just a memory, you know. So I just had a guy hunts public land, never had a Tactacam. He won it. He won the camera, and I knew him. He sent me a message. He's like, I just won a Tactacam. I'm so excited. I was like, awesome. He's like, what do I got to do? I said, charge it up, take it hunting. And he sent me a message from the tree stand. He's like, I just shot a buck. What do I do now? And I said, turn the camera off. He's like, okay, paused it. He's like, now what? I said, like just turn the Wi-Fi on and watch the video. He literally sat there and watched the video of his buck kill in the tree stand. And he's like, oh my gosh. He's like, I nailed it. He's like, I had no idea where I hit it. He's like, I think I shut my eyes. And he double lunged the deer at 15 yards. And he like sat there in the tree and he was shaking. He's on the phone with me and he's like, I have no idea what I just did, but I pushed the button like you told me, and he filmed this deer, and then I got the video and I edited it up for him real quick, and he was just blown away. He's like, if I would have ever realized that I could ever even do something like this, he's like, I would have been buying one of these way, way long time ago. He's like, I just never thought I ever would care about a video, you know, until he experienced it. And he could have cared less. He literally didn't even, all he's like, I'll push the button, and then he figured it out later, right? He had this amazing moment, and he was so excited. He called me, and I'm like, "Aren't you going to call your wife or your dad?" And he called me, right? So, I mean, I think that's really exciting to see someone get so excited about using a product, that it's secondary. It's not the primary thing, but the hunt is always the primary thing, and I think that's the way we need to approach it, and that's how we approach it. It's how can we not interfere, not interfere with that moment, but still give you something that is just amazing, that allows you to relive it.
So I guess from that perspective, I mean, obviously you've got skin in the game, right? But so for people that would like to try this out or whatever, like what is a recommendation for, you know, just a guy like that, for like a guy that just wants to see the hit or just wants to share, you
Yeah.
know.
So in all reality, I tell people, like, if you're just going to use one camera, that's it. Like, you just want to get into it. $199 or something like that, or it might even be like 159 some places. You can get a solo Wi-Fi, a Tactacam Solo. It's our like base model. Um, what it is, it's a camera. You push one button, it records. You push it again, it stops. Like, that's truly all it is. That's what you do. It does have Wi-Fi. It allows you to, watch the videos on your app and all this other stuff, but it's just the bare basics. So then, if you really get hooked into it and you're like, man, I love this, and I want to add a couple cameras, that's where the 5.0 system comes into play. And the 5.0, it's just a name. Everybody teases me because they're like, oh, what's it going to be named? I'm like, I don't know. After the first one, I'm like, 2.0. It was just kind of a joke. And then next thing you know, it's the 2.0. Then we came out with the 3.0, and then the 4.0, and then the 5.0. So you get it. But the 5.0 is, it has an RF receiver in it. So the remote system is like nothing else. Like, there is nothing like this. It works off radio frequency. You push the button on the remote, it sends out a radio frequency, and it remembers each camera. So if you have five, I actually use 10 cameras because
Jeez.
I don't know why, I just do. I like it, right? This is what I do. So it sends out the radio frequencies for each camera. It turns them on from off. Like, it literally just pings them, and it knows exactly what it's supposed to do. So it just says, oh, there's my signal. Here, it's go time. And, if you have it set at 4K, 30 frames per second, I'm just going to get techie on you with, ultra wide, no stable. It doesn't matter. Whatever the settings are on that camera, it remembers them, and it just turns on and records. So it's just super, super easy, which is what allows a guy like Paul Kermy to go sit in a tree, hit one button, and have everything just work. That's why it makes it so easy and simple.
So you had mentioned in there stabilization. So that was something I wanted to get into because, one of the things is, like, for us as bow hunters, when your bow goes off, there's some sort of a vibration. And,
Yeah.
What do these have for stabilization? And then some of these cameras, depending on which model, etc., there's different levels of zoom. And so does that play a part in the amount of vibration, or what you get as movement after the shot?
Yeah, 100%. So our cameras it's electronic stabilization. So it's all done through software. Let's just say. Let's just say that's just how it's done. But so what we did was we developed this is through a lot of testing, but we figured out a really good way to float the image within the sensor. And what it's doing, it's actually locking on, just like when you take a picture with your phone, you get the little square and it shows up on a face, and it's like, how does it do that? Same thing. We're just using fancy, software that we've developed over time, and it just locks on. Like, it locks onto trees. It's hard to pick out a deer, but if you lock onto objects, you can then stabilize the image onto them objects. Well, guess what? The deer's walking through the objects, so it's going to work. Like, it's like, whenever I explain this to people, they're like, wow, that's really easy. I'm like, well, it sounds easy, and it should be easy because it doesn't need to be complicated. The more complicated you make stuff, the more often it's going to fail, in my opinion. So that's how we do it. And then as far as zoom, we have basically, there's three models. There's the Tactacam Wi-Fi, the solo Wi-Fi, and then we have the 5.0 zoom and the 5.0 wide. The solo Wi-Fi, it comes standard with a 3x zoom. The 5.0 comes standard with a 3x zoom, but it also adds optic and digital zoom on top of that, which goes up to like 8x. And then the 5.0 wide is like an ultra wide lens, which is truly made to be used with the remote. Like, if you get on my social media, or I mean, heck, to be honest with you, all the stuff we post on Tactacam, you'll see it there too. But I mean, I'm putting cameras down in scrapes. I'm putting them on trails. I'm like getting the deer walking down a trail, coming to a scrape, literally, peeing on the ground and, doing all that stuff. And I got cameras right there. I got cameras in the trees, and it's just so cool. It's so fun. I know I geek out over it. Not everybody's going to geek out like I do, but I think you kind of start to understand, like where the passion comes from.
Well, I think one of the
So,
things is, like, personally for myself, so I've got, so we've got a myriad of Tactacams because we have four guys at any point in time that are hunting, so
right.
they're split amongst us. And I have, what's funny, one of my buddies actually won one, and I'm using that, and it's one of the fours.
Uh-huh.
Well, that deer that I shot that I talked about earlier, I had the Tactacam on the bow, and I had my main camera, I had a point of view camera, I had everything. And the beauty of the Tactacam is like that video right up until the shot where my arm moves and the bow moves all over, is just it's just about better than my main camera because I had set up my main camera earlier in the morning where I had to adjust the exposure for the light and everything, and then when the deer came in and I just flipped the camera on, the exposure was still so it's a little bit blown out, but that with the Tactacam and the deer coming in, it doesn't seem like on some of the other action cameras where it's a mile away and it's 30 yards, and I shoot this deer at 17 yards, and I could have. It's a better video than with my main camera that I was using,
Right.
and
Right.
it's very impressive,
Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I've always been impressed with him, but I guess I'm biased, like.
Well, and that's what's hard, because we're working with Tactacam and we're say, well, do these really work? What do you guys really think of them? And it's like I wouldn't have so many of them, and I wouldn't be giving like my brother's coming over. He's headed to South Dakota again tomorrow, so I'm outfitting him, saying, okay, here, take these just for that very reason that it doesn't take anything away from the hunt. We've had him try and bring other cameras out there and stuff like that, and it's too much.
Mm-hmm.
And with these, I mean, you could literally have two of them on your bow, one facing back at you, one facing the animal, and have a complete hunt without having to do anything other than hit a couple buttons.
Right.
You don't have to worry about the rain. You don't have to worry about, setting anything up additionally. I mean, I think that's one of the keys because there's a lot of guys that get into self-filming, and it really is. There's a big fatigue factor. So that 6th, 7th day of a 10-day hunt, and you're like, I'm not bringing the camera, I'm not doing any of this, and then ultimately that's when you kill, and you're like, man, if I would have just, it doesn't take that away from it.
Yeah, and I mean, and then like just to real quickly, bring it up. It's like we've been talking about like the Tactacam and filming your hunt and all this stuff. It's like this last year we started spending a ton of time like thinking like, like what else can we build? Like stuff that makes sense, like stuff that we want, right? So, like we did the FTS last year, which was a pretty big hit. Then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, let's build something for a spotting scope, which I know that there's, scope cams and other, other stuff, but it was like to have a dedicated device, something that was just simple. You didn't have to pull your phone out of the, case and all this other stuff. Like that took off. Like, I'm going to just tell you, like, we just thought, let's try it. And I mean, people are loving it. And then the reveal, which is the cellular camera, which do you have one of those?
Yeah, we've got a couple of those. John, that's what he said when I was in between talking to you and talking to him. He's like, tell him it's in the truck. I'm setting it out right now. And,
yeah, so I mean, those things are just crazy. Like, I mean, we built them to be as truly as simple as you can get. Like you literally just turn it on, scan a QR code, pick your plan, and you're going, you know. And they just send photos. It was like, well, what do we need them to do? I was like, work, send photos. Like, what about video? Like, well, we can put video in there, but like, let's not mess around with any of that. Like, yeah, we'll give you the option, but you got to control that from the camera. It's like all you need it to do is you want it to activate, you want it to take pictures, and you want them to send to your phone. Period. Good quality photos. That's all you need it to do. If you can do that, you're winning.
So,
And
so let's unwrap that just a second, because that's one of the things that I think is, I guess, one of the things I fear about the Reveal cell cam, right? Is that you guys put out this camera that is at or below the price point of your nearest competitor. You know,
yeah,
the cell cams of the past were $300 to $500, and then last year or the year before, a company came out with one at the $150 price point, and they're less than that.
Would be like the Spy Point, I think.
Yep, and then you guys come out and they're anywhere from $119 to $89.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's called not being greedy, right? It's like, what are the main things that you hate about a cell camera? I hate the cost. I hate how hard they are to set up. I hate how unreliable they are. It's like, so I know hate's a strong word. I shouldn't say it. I apologize to all your listeners. You can beat that out if you need to. But, it's like you just take everything that you just don't like. And cost was, to be honest with you, at the top of the list. Other than that, it's like they just got to work, So it was like, well, okay, if we can build this and build it, like our goal, our price point at retail was $120, which we did hit, right? And then we gave stores the option to be able to go all the way down to 99, and it was truly just because we thought, well, okay, truly it was because nobody believed in it yet, right? So you have to give them something to like, okay, wow, yeah, we got to do this. But our goal was $120, and we knew that we were going to build. Our goal was the best camera. So, and it's arguable, but you're also comparing them to $400 cameras, right? So it's like, can we build a camera for 120, like retail $120? Build it so we want to use it, like, and we're proud of it. We're not, hiding. I mean, if you get on social media like Jeff and me, and I've actually kind of stayed off it a little bit lately because I got so much going on, but we're on there. Like, we're the owners of the company, and we're literally on social media answering questions and, like trying to, if someone's got a problem, like, hey, what's going on? Like, let's get it fixed. Like, it's, probably nothing, but that's how we feel about it. Like, we've sold like 180,000+ cameras this year. And, like, we're on social media doing customer service because we want to learn and get the feedback and make it better and improve it and see where people are having the hiccups. And, like, that's what we do at Tactacam.
Well, and the thing is that right now you can't find them. And that's what I was saying is, like, my fear is that, like you said, nobody believed in them. So you put this camera out at this price point, and, as what tends to happen is you say, well, okay, well, that was just our rollout deal. So we'll make them $150. We'll sell maybe not as many cameras, but we'll make the same money.
Oh no, we're going to keep the price point. We built about an extra 80,000 cameras this year, if that tells you anything. So that's on top of what we had already budgeted for, what we planned for, so you gotta, I mean, I know the viewers are like, just build more, like we were looking for them. But I mean, if you look at the amount of cameras that we built, like, yeah, I know it sucks that you can't find them, but it's pretty dang impressive. And next year, I will tell you, you'll be able to find them, because not only are we going to keep the price the same, we're already starting to get all of our materials lined up, all of our boards, all of our lenses, and this stuff gets sourced from all over the world. So we would have tried to build more to be 100% clear. Like, yeah, why would we not? But for what we need to build for next year, we have to start on it right now. And we actually ran out of material. Like we just could not physically build anymore. I think we just built like another 10,000 cameras or something. It was like, oh, well, we were able to get some boards and like, okay, let's build 10,000 more. And they're getting shipped out right now. Like they're literally at our warehouse. We got them finished and they're getting shipped out. So it's not like we just stopped, but it's like if you plan on building, let's just say 60,000 in a year, to go from building 60,000 to 120,000 to 180,000, and then 200 plus thousand units, that's a pretty big jump. So I just want everybody to understand, like, hey, we're gonna get you cameras, and we proved this year that, hey, yeah, we can do it, and we can definitely keep our quality and build the numbers that we need to. But we're already planning for next year, and we'll make sure that there's enough cameras. Like I don't ever want to hear about anybody not being able to get one. Let's put it that way, especially next year.
And so, like, I guess, what kind of questions are you fielding? I think if you could explain, like, the way that cameras work and the plans and all of that, because that's one of the, I mean, since we've started using these cell cams at all, and then posting pictures and stuff, we've fielded a lot of questions about, like, well, how do I add that to my cell phone plan, and well, all the different ins and outs of it, and I guess I was in that camp before.
Yeah.
I got one that I didn't have any idea of how it worked either.
So let's just say you have U.S. Cellular or Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile. Number one, it does not matter what cellular provider you currently have. So what you do is you'll buy either a Verizon or AT&T camera. All it is just what service, what towers they work off of. So it's, if you don't have or don't know, just, talk to some friends, or they have maps that are really good now that actually show you all the service areas, and they tend to work pretty well. But that's really all you need. You buy the camera, and you're going to hook it up right through the Tactacam Reveal app. And in the app, that's where you activate it. You don't have to go to a Verizon store. You don't have to go to an AT&T store. You literally just scan a QR code. It passes the camera's information through us, and we already pre-buy all the data. So we have partnership with AT&T and Verizon. So we buy a huge bundle of data. That's how we're able to get you such cheap data costs, prices. I mean, we're talking $13 for unlimited photos for a month on one camera, and then it's cheaper as you buy more cameras. So it's really inexpensive, and it's easy. You don't go to a store. You literally scan a QR code, and if you don't know what scanning a QR code, it tells you when you open the app up. You hit a plus symbol, add a camera. It says, here, push this button and scan a QR code. You're going to go to your camera, and it's like, oh, how do I? It pulls it up, and it's like you're taking a photo. And you just hold it over the QR code, and it's like, boop, done. Name your camera, select the location, activate, done. It's taking photos, and you're like, wow, that was quick. So it takes about a minute. It's about a minute process to activate.
I think the thing that I'm most impressed with, like, granted, like, getting those pictures is an addiction. So
it is.
That's it's all, like, I wake up in the middle of the night and I, like, roll over, I grab my phone, and I'm like, all right, well, it's moving tonight. It's awful. But it's nice to have inventory and all of that. But I think what I'm most impressed with the camera is, like, you buy any camera these days, it doesn't matter if it's the $28 Tasco from Walmart, or when you get up into the the $100 plus GSM cameras, right?
Yep.
You have this little tiny like LED 8-bit screen that you're trying
Right.
to figure out, or you have to scan a QR code to get the instructions to know how many buttons up and down to push. Inside your camera, that is a cellular camera that, by far exceeds the computing power of any of those cameras, has this amazing LED screen, or LCD screen that you can see. It's very clear. Everything
Hmm.
is intuitive, like exactly like how you would draw it up. And at the price point, it just blows me away that you're able to do that. Because even on, like I say, on the $150 spy points or whatever, you're still messing around with those little tiny LEDs.
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it goes back to how easy can you make it, right? So
Well, I
I don't
think
know. It's pretty cool.
well, I think a lot of it is probably building the product that you want to use.
Hmm.
Not you said not being greedy, but I think that there's a fine line there between like being greedy and like being honest with the product, because
Right.
it seems like you built a product that you want to be proud of and that you want to use.
Right. 100%. And I think that should be everybody's goal, but I realize that that's not probably not always the case, right? But
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but there's a lot more. The further that we get down this podcasting road and we talk to people, we don't talk to a lot of industry people. We don't talk to a lot of companies. We don't deal with that side of it because it seems like there is a lot of money grabbing and a lot of disingenuousness out there. And then on the other side of that is that, I mean, it's awesome. I think that we're scrambling to wedge this podcast in between hunting because, a lot of the people that you meet in the industry, or that at least that we've met, have said, yeah, I thought I was going to be able to hunt way more, and I started this company, and I'm not able to hunt, or I'm not able to, you know, all we're doing is
yeah,
honoring contracts and stuff.
no, not the case. I mean, I shot a buck in Wisconsin a couple weeks ago, and then I turned around and flew down to Louisiana to hang out with a buddy, and they were filming a TV show, and I just helped out and hunted every night. Worked during the day, and then I came back and I've been at the office all day, and I got a buddy that just came in from PA, and he's he actually just rolled into the house where I'm going to show him around a few spots, and he loves hunting public land, and he's never shot a Wisconsin buck. And I said, if you come out here, I'll show you some amazing spots. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow, and it's going to be chalked up as R&D. I'm not going to lie to you. We're going to have Tactacams. We're going to stick out some reveals. We're going to use the spotter LR, get it on some spine scopes, see if we can get some bucks chasing. So I mean, but those are all real things. Like, you have to be out there using the product, and if you're not, how do you know if it's working? How do you know that if you can make it better? So I think it's a really important part of it.
Well, I don't want to keep you too long from your buddy and all of that R&D. One of the questions that we usually ask, and it's always
Sure.
John's question, but it's like, what's your bow setup? What are you shooting?
Well, so right now I'm shooting a it's a shoot, what's the name of it? It's like a M something. It's an expedition, but I can't remember the name, like the physical name of it. But
Hmm.
either way, it's an expedition, brand new for this year. I had a Matthews, a Hoyt, and a Bowtech that I've kind of like switched back and forth. And I don't know what it was about this bow. Like, I picked it up, and I just liked the way it shot. Like, it was smooth and it was still fast. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this a try this year. And I've already killed 3 deer with it. So I'm like, well, I guess I kind of like it. And before that, I was shooting a Hoyt that I got, and it wasn't even a newer one, but it was a carbon spider, like one of the first ones that came out,
Mm-hmm.
and I just fell in love with that bow, and I just kept shooting it, and then I think I had a Matthews and a Bowtech, and I really like the Bowtech. I like the Matthews too. Like they all shoot so good. They all have their different things about them, and I like shooting them different styles. But this year I'm shooting that Expedition at 60 pounds, which I've never shot 60. I've always shot 70 or higher. And it was just something I thought I'm going to try it. It shoots just as fast as my other bows at 70, which is crazy to me that I'm pulling 60. And I started to do a lot of like just scrape hunting at full draw, like as they're coming in and like super close. So I'm talking like less than 10 yards, which you know how hard it is to draw on a deer when they
Mm-hmm.
get in real tight. So like I was just kind of having some fun this year. So I wanted something that I could just shoot really smoothly, quietly, and pull back. Like that last buck I shot, I think I held back for like over 5 minutes.
Jeez.
And I just drilled him, by the way. It was awesome. But right at a scrape, like literally sideways, and took one step, and I'm just like bam, just like that. It was insane. But yeah, anyway, that's my setup. I got a HHA 4-pin. It's a adjustable, but I got 4 pins on it. I set it at typically 20 yards because it shoots so flat all the way up to 20, and then I got a 30, 40, and whatever. But you can always adjust it if you're in a field and want to throw an arrow or something. And then I got a tight spot quiver. Let's see what else. I don't know. I just enjoy hunting, I guess.
What are you shooting for arrows?
I got VAPs. I've been shooting them since they came out. Those real thin ones. Yeah, but I don't know. When I first got them, everybody's like, "Oh, these aren't going to work. They're going to break." Blah blah blah. And I was just like, "Whatever. I like them. They fly good in the wind. They got good penetration. They're forward. They have a lot of weight up front." And I've been using them ever since. And it seems like now it's so hard to dang even find the dang things because everybody wants them.
And then what broadhead?
I love the Rage hypodermics.
Okay.
So, yep, I've used a lot of different ones. I don't know why I keep going back to them. I know a lot of people say, don't use mechanicals, but they fly good, they hit hard, and man, they smack. Like when they hit, they open up, and it's just like, it sounds like you did something. So.
Yeah, I'll have to send you the video of the buck that I shot this year because we since 2018 we've basically been shooting fixed blades. Just we hunted Idaho for elk, and
Right.
They don't allow a mechanical, and so we switched over, and then we got onto the heavy arrow thing, which everybody is all over this time, and we switched over to that this year. But I shot this deer at 18 yards, but I shot him like in the neck above the front shoulder and came out right in the pocket. But
wow.
I think I shot the biggest buck of my life. I made basically the same shot on with one of the Rage Extremes. It didn't get a pass through, but yeah, that deer went 84 yards and piled up, and I actually got him basically tipping over on the Tactacam. So it was
that's awesome.
It just sort of worked out great, but yeah, I mean there's something to be said about a fixed blade, but if you hit them right with those ranges, they work. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. I've just, I've used a lot of different ones, and I just keep going back to them, and I don't know if it's good or bad, but I've never had anything bad happen. In fact, I shot a really nice buck in Wisconsin, and he was really big and old, and I actually made a bad shot. Like I got so excited, like I do every time. I actually shot him about 4 inches forward from where I was aiming, and at 18 yards, he wasn't coming into the scrape, but it was a buck I've never seen before. He was massive, and he was coming up over the hill, and he was on a mission. And I was like, oh, I got him. And it went right through his front shoulder and buried into the other shoulder, and he died within like 70 yards. Like he ran downhill and crashed hard and like done. Like, how did that happen? Like, I had no idea. Like, I'm like, oh, great. I just screwed that up. But it's like, it's almost like they open on impact, make a great big wound, and then like close up going through the bone and then open back up. And it was like, took everything out. It was weird. I don't know if anybody else has had that experience, but this year definitely made me even more of a believer than what I had been. But I will tell you, I always carry a Muzzy fixed blade in my quiver just in case, But
So what's on the Tactacam docket for 2021 with having no shows, or at least for the foreseeable future?
yeah, so we're working super hard on the 5.0 system to really just make it even better. Like, I mean, it's all compatible with what's out now, but it's just like, how do you always improve it, make it better, 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 better? We've got a new FTS that will be coming out that people are going to be blown away by, which it just makes it even better than what we currently got. You won't have to use, a camera with it. It'll be a lot like the Spotter LR. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff happening.
Awesome.
We're doing a ton of software work. I mean, software, it's pretty obvious. Software controls everything, right? I mean, we're putting so much energy into the software to just make it even better than what it is. So like across the board, reveal, everything, every single product line. So it's going to be awesome.
Well, it's awesome, Ben, to hear all of your passion and everything into this, and it's just not rehearsed and scripted. This is what we have, and this is how it is. I really appreciate it. And I think the listeners are gonna, that's gonna translate to, Tactacam as a company. Where can everybody follow along these hunts and everything that you're filming? And
so it's Tactacam.com. Facebook is I think Tactacam. We have Instagram. Otherwise, like Benjamin B. Stern, I think I got an Instagram account that I just started using last week again. Otherwise, I'm on Facebook as well, Benjamin B. Stern. I usually make all my stuff public, so I try to share a bunch of stuff on there. But yeah, anyway.
And then if people have questions or anything like that, can they just reach out to you or the customer service, or how do they go about that?
The fastest way is support@tactacam.com. Like, it truly is the fastest way. I work with them every single day. We have a team of people. If you email me, like, there's a good chance that it might get lost. I'm always doing something, or if I just don't want it to fall through the cracks. So if you email support, I get every one of those emails. I read them all. But we have a very, very good crew of people, and they're way nicer to talk to than me, to be honest with you. They're awesome, really, really good. But yeah, they're support@tactacam.com. Otherwise, call the Tactacam phone number. I think it's right on our website. If you want it, I can look it up.
No, that's great. We'll put it in the show notes.
Cool.
But hopefully they won't have to deal with the customer support. So
yeah, I mean, we got people that call just to talk. They're like, hey, I was filming this giant buck, and where do I send it? Like, hey, that's cool. Like, I love it. Those are good calls, good emails. So
for sure. Well, I think that's kind of all we got for tonight. If you want to hang on the line real quick, but yeah, I just appreciate your time, and I want to make sure you get out there to do your R&D. So
yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.